Hi, everybody. This is Lori from GLP1 Journey in Review. And we have with us today Chanda. Again, introduce yourself, your channel.
Hi, I'm Chanda, you guys, and my YouTube channel is Life According to Self. And I decided to start my channel at the beginning of my weight loss journey, which was February of this year. I was weighing in at 270.2 pounds, and I am now at 201. So it is super exciting, and I am so glad to be a part of the community, you guys. So it's been great for me.
I want to remind everybody this is not an interview, this is an actual live. So we're both just going to chime in whatever. We're going to talk about, if any of you have any questions and answers, please put them into the comments. And we're also going to be talking about changing the medication because I know some people are in that predicament because of insurance. Shanda just went through that herself. Uh, so, feel free to ask us anything you want. Right now we have 5 viewers. Welcome, everybody. I put life according to self link in the chat. So uh, again, just comment your questions. First of all, why would people change their medication? Number one reason is insurance. Another reason is cost. Um, Occasionally it's availability. Sometimes it's a doctor's choice. More often than not, though, it's the insurance, as we all know, with CVS CareMart. And we're going to chat about it.
Well, I can definitely start with my story, you guys. And okay, so just to give you a little background, my insurance is still through my estranged husband. Okay, he's in California, and he received the letter about my insurance company, which is Cigna, dropping trizepatide from their formulary. But as per usual, he's a procrastinator, so I didn't even know
Mhm.
that was going to happen. So I didn't know until I went to pick up my prescription for my 7.5, and they said, sorry, but Cigna's not covering this anymore. So then I had to have a conversation with my doctor to see what my options were.
Mhm.
And she said Cigna is covering Wegovy. And I was really bummed because I was having such success with Zepbound. And but because it was all new, I didn't know what to do or what my next step should be. So I told her, okay, I guess I'll switch to Wegovy. So when I went to pick up the prescription, it was the very lowest dose.
Mhm.
And it was extremely upsetting because I was already titrating up to 10. I think I was supposed to get, excuse me, a 10. But going back to the lowest dose, I felt so defeated. And I picked it up anyway because I wanted to continue with my journey. And I told myself that this battle is mine to lose. So go ahead, get the Wegovy, and try to move forward as positively as you can. So I did that, took the first shot, and it seemed to be fine. But over the next couple of days, I started having this really gassy, bloated, uncomfortable feeling. And that just, oh, hey, Tammy. And that just made it very difficult for me because not only was I already just outdone having to switch, but now I'm having side effects that I never had before. So that was just it was a very trying time. Although I went maybe a week and a half, I know it seems like a short period of time, but it was very trying and very upsetting.
No, I mean, me, I'd be really scared to change only because of the side effects. I'd be worried that I'd psych myself into having side effects whether I was going to have them or not.
Right.
The psychological idea of it, because so many people that I know said they have had side effects.
Mhm.
Now, I was telling you a little bit earlier the story of a paramedic that I work for that was prescribed Zepbound to lose weight, and he's right around that 400-pound mark. And he was going to start it, and they're like, "No, you need to get your gallbladder out first."
Mm.
So then his infant child got sick and was put in the hospital for a few days, so he kind of had to put that off a couple months. And but in the meantime, his wife changed jobs, who their insurance is for, and they're like, "Nope, we won't cover Zepbound. We'll only cover Wegovy." So he had to jump through all those hoops again, get the Wegovy, and he's been on it for I think this is his uh, towards the end of his second month, and he's already lost 20 some pounds, and basically doesn't really have any side effects. Like I said, I'd kind of be worried myself, just the psychological thing, with so many people saying, "Oh, the side effects are so bad, that's why I switched to the tirzepatide." So
Mhm.
there are some good success stories, but
Well, that friend you speak of, was
Mhm.
he on Zepbound or tirzepatide at
No,
first, or Wegovy was his first
he
go
was
round?
yeah, he had picked up the prescription because he was gonna start it, but then I guess he wasn't feeling too good. And for some reason, they did a ultrasound of his gallbladder, and they're like, "No, you need your gallbladder out. You shouldn't start the Zepbound until after you do that."
Okay, I see. You know what though? I almost wonder if, because he has nothing to compare to,
Mhm,
that Wegovy is going to be great, or any
mhm,
GLP-1 that you first start is going to be great. But in it potentially. But in my case, because I had started Zepbound first and I had such success with it, then I was always comparing every single day to what my previous experience had been. So I think that all of these GLP-1 medications, of course, work to some degree.
mhm,
One might work better for someone else than the other. Either way, something out there is going to work for you. But just in my case, I decided I was going to go back to Zepbound because Wegovy just didn't feel good to me. And like you said, there's a lot of mental anguish that went along with that.
mhm,
So I had to switch back, and being that I had to do that, I had to budget and rearrange some things within my household finances
mhm.
so I can be able to do it.
Now my brother, he started on, semaglutide, and he was getting using compound, and he's like, "It really works well, but the side effects were horrendous." So,
Mhm.
I told him, "Why don't you try tirzepatide?" So, did the telehealth, and he's like, "A lot less side effects, and it is working great." But he was on both, and that was his opinion. Now he did not have to wait for one to clear out of his system. I know some people that I've talked to, their doctors prefer them to wait like 2 to 4 weeks to let the medication come out of their system and before they start the new medication. Did they want that with you, or?
No. In fact, she said there should be no issue with going right into the Wegovy shot. And
Mhm,
and I followed her instruction and did just that. And I didn't have any issues as far as that goes. My body became acclimated pretty quick without any notice. But the food noise just was much louder than it had ever been on the Zepbound.
mhm,
Of course, that could have been because it was the lowest dosage possible.
mhm,
That's always, possible,
mhm,
but I just didn't I just didn't want to stay on it. I just couldn't. So I just said, Shanda, this is very important to you in your life, and do what you need to do to continue the successes that you have already had.
mhm,
So if I had to, I would have done anything that I needed to do to make sure I was able to purchase my Zepbound.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So we have 8 people here. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.
Okay.
Make sure you check out Chanda's channel, which again is linked. Let me put it on the screen, but it's in the chat. If any of you have any questions, please put them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to take your questions. We're covering medication changes, insurance, accessibility, anything you want to ask, anything you want to talk about.
And while we're waiting on the viewers to ask questions,
Hmm.
as we were talking about earlier, the accessibility for these GLP-1s. And I was asking Lori, you guys, about the commercials that you see that say $45 trizepatide, or $25 shots. And I was asking her if she had had any experience with those and what's that about. And Lori basically said it's just a marketing scam. Basically, has anybody out there looked into that?
Like I said, I've heard that it's kind of like a coupon thing. I don't know for sure. That's my best guess. Uh, let's see. We have a time. I was sick. I was bad enough. My doctor pulled me off of it, so he switched me to Zepbound. It's been so much better, and so far haven't had any problem. And this comes from Sharon. I'm glad that switching helped. It's always good to have options. I usually tell people the best medication to start with, is between you and your doctor. But one good thing is, what does your insurance cover?
I'm so glad, Sharon, that you got
Hi,
switched over
Joe.
to something. Hey, Joe, that worked better for you. You are not the only person that I've heard say that. Lots of people have said that they have had severe side effects along with terrible fatigue. And when they were switched to another, like a Zepbound, it all went away. So I'm so glad you were able to have that option as well.
I think this question's to you.
Yes, you guys, you know what? I'm so glad, Tammy, that you asked this question. I was terrified to give myself a shot using a syringe, but I have to say it was not a big deal at all. You can't even feel the needle going in. The needle is so fine. It took me probably about 20 minutes before I was able to give myself the first shot. But then once I did, I was like, I'm being super silly. It was like zero feeling, not even a pinch. So it was
Right.
amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. How about you, Lori? How do you feel giving yourself the shot?
I don't feel anything, and I've used Monjero and I've used Compound because my wife is type 2 diabetic, so she gets the actual Monjero pens, and occasionally we'll both use the Compound. Like when we went away, I just brought a little vial with us and 2 syringes. It was easier than packing a pen in my stuff. So sometimes I'll use hers because we're basically on the same dose. And again, a little more convenient because you don't have to draw it up. But I mean, um, I think the last time I drew it up, 60 units was the dose. How hard was that to really draw up? It took a matter of an extra 45 seconds to a minute and a half.
Yeah, right. I agree. The pen is much more convenient, that's for sure. But to be honest with you, I think the pen actually hurts a tad bit more than the actual syringe.
Where do you inject? Because I'm basically a tummy person.
Well, when I first started out taking the medication, it was always in my stomach. But
Hmm.
then after time went on, I realized I wasn't having the same suppression as I once did. So after, perusing YouTube and all the other different creators and their experiences, that's when I learned that you have to rotate. And I was like, oh, okay, good. So then I started going arm, arm, stomach, stomach, thigh, thigh. That's how
That's
I
what my
give
wife does.
that's how I give myself my shot. So I rotate, and the appetite suppression is amazing. Now, why does that work? I don't know, but it definitely worked for me.
Hmm. Yeah, I tried my leg twice and it hurt, but I don't have a lot of fat in my legs. I do want to try under the arm.
Yeah.
I think that'll be easier with the pen.
It is easier with the pen. In fact, the two shots that I gave on my arm, I had my son do it only because if
Hmm.
I go like this, I don't want to break the needle in my arm or
Right.
anything. So I'm going
And
to
you don't
try
see if you're
it.
going in crooked or it's
Exactly. So I
uh
have
so
him do it on my arm.
yeah, so Tammy thinks that those ads may be a bait and switch, and they very well could be. I guess that's
I think
what do
so
we have
because
here?
how do you go from a medication that cost roughly $1,000 without insurance to one that's
Hmm.
45? But I guess people who are desperate to try the medication, yeah, they're going to call because that sounds really good.
That might just be the first dose, for all we know.
Maybe, possibly, and then after the first dose, they know you're hooked, and you're gonna do
Right.
whatever you're gonna do whatever's necessary.
Want to say hi to Allie. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Allie.
Uh,
Hey,
Michelle.
Michelle.
Hello, everyone. Everybody saying hi to each other. If you
Yeah,
have any
love it.
questions, put them in the comments. Please remember to hit that like button. Don't forget to go over to Life According to Yourself and subscribe and follow and binge watch your videos. They're really good. I was watching your video today. You're super close to that Wonderland there. It's like
I
I have a
am
feeling next
so
week or the week
excited.
after, and that's pretty exciting.
It is so exciting, you guys. I never would have imagined that I would be in this position ever again. So it is definitely, definitely something that I'm very proud of, very excited about, and really proud of myself just for hanging in there, and keeping with the program, because so many times before I dieted and fell off, dieted and fell off,
Mm.
right? So it became a professional dieting situation. So now, because I have learned so many new things about how to feed my body, I'm just super excited about the rest of my life.
So Allie's asking if either one of us had any foods that Manjaro has put us off that we used to love. For me, key lime pie. It was just I found that sweet things are excessively sweet now. Could I get used to it again? Probably, but key lime pie is kind of sweet and tart at the same time, and that just kind of like really just felt really off. And I used to really like key lime pie.
Well, for me, when I got on the medication, I changed my entire dietary options. I
Mhm.
haven't eaten anything that I used to eat since I've been on this journey. I've changed everything around. Now, of course, like I said, I was like a drinker. I love a cocktail at 5 o'clock, and tacos were my favorite go to. But I haven't had any of those things. So I can't really say what those things would taste like at this point.
Hmm. So this one comes from Tammy. I've been thinking about compound for maintenance until I figure out maintenance dose, but the syringe gives me more pause. Thanks for sharing. Personally, I like the compound because I was on 10 when I started my maintenance and I wanted to go down. So with the compound, I was able to go down a little bit slower. So rather than going straight from 10 to 7.5, I kind of did a week or two in the middle there because, you're drawing it up. I'm sure it's somewhat the same with the vials, except what do you do with the rest of it on the vials, where the compound comes in, 4 weeks, usually 5 weeks in a vial.
Tammy, if you decide to go compound, I promise the needle does not hurt. I think it's more of a mental thing than anything, but I am a big baby when it comes to that stuff. So I'm telling you, you will be okay. I promise.
I think the last time I looked, I don't know, was it a 31 gauge or a 34 gauge? And
I
I know
think
you
it
could
said
get even a
one.
small gauge on Amazon. I think Amazon has a 34 or 35 gauge if for some reason you do feel it and you want a smaller gauge, an option.
Yeah, and too, I just went on YouTube to look at some others that actually use the syringe, and I did it exactly the way that the YouTube video said to do it, and it worked out great.
So we have a comment from Joe from Sleep and Slim Down Journey. Please make sure that you check out her channel. If you guys want, you could put the links to your channel in my chat. Uh, so make sure that you all check out her channel, binge watch her videos. She needs the watch hours, and she's asking, my friend does not want to go on GLP-1 because she's worried about her love for red wine. Should I try talking to her around, and if so, how? Well, everything is moderation. You know, uh, not no food to me is off limits. When I went on vacation, I had ice cream. You know, granted, I only go on vacation 3 or 4 times a year, so that's not a lot of ice cream. And where I used to eat the entire, was it quart?
Hmm.
Uh, a quarter lasts me
Me
like
too.
4 days now, if I was gonna eat it every day. So, that's the difference. So, wine should not be off limits, might it taste a little different? Most people don't find that. Occasionally, you'll find somebody do that. I do think that you should warn her that it is possible with the slower digestion and the fact that you're eating less, that you drink a little bit slower because it could hit you a lot more. And just approach her as a friend and somebody with experience. What's your opinion on this?
Joe, listen, like I stated a few moments ago, my household believed in cocktail hour. Okay. So for years, I had cocktail hour after work when I got home. Martinis were my absolute favorite. And since I started my journey, I haven't had a drink. And that was a personal decision. Not that you can't have one. That was just my
Mhm.
personal, hey Carol, that was just my personal decision. Now, did I feel like I didn't want to get on a GLP-1 because it was going to interfere with my cocktail hour? Absolutely, that's how I felt. But I was so tired of being overweight that I was just willing to do anything. Now, your friend can get on a GLP-1 and she can still have a little bit of wine. I don't think that you can't have wine.
Mm.
Nothing. You can do whatever you want, just everything, as Lori said, in moderation.
Right. And to me, if you're going to have this as a lifestyle, nothing should be totally off limits if you like it. Because for me, other than the sweet and tart thing together, hasn't really changed my taste. Now, Sharon is saying that there are many foods that I no longer want, like wine, sweet things, and anything with sauces. Again, I noticed, again, when I ate the ice cream, that first bite was super sweet. Could I have stopped there? Yeah. Did I? I had like 4 spoons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Which is fine, right? Which is fine. You
Uh-huh.
have to treat yourself because, like you said before, if you try to cut out every single thing, then it's not sustainable. Okay. Now,
Right.
for me, because I did cut out everything, but what I do is I still make certain things, I just substitute all the other stuff for healthier stuff. So I'm still eating some of those things, I just prepare it much differently.
Mm-hmm. Right. Joe is talking to Tammy about injecting yourself. That it took the fear out of needles. It doesn't hurt at all. I agree, it doesn't hurt at all. And it made her having vaccinations, which sometimes does hurt, and sometimes it hurts for a couple days afterwards, and getting blood so much easier. That's true. Hi, Sharon. That's interesting. At the moment, I think I fancy a food, and then I have a few bites and don't want it anymore. I think that's the GLP-1 sending that signal to the brain that I've had
Mhm.
enough. And, that's part of the beauty of the GLP-1s.
Well, do
Uh,
you
every,
remember when we talked about the caloric cycling?
hmm
I was thinking about treating myself some point in the near future, but I'm just not sure what it's going to be. But I do want to try. Maybe I'll have a carnita taco. I don't know, but I want to treat myself and
And
maybe just up my calories one particular day and see
absolutely.
how
I
I
mean,
feel
'cause
about it.
your body needs a change. I was talking to Lorraine from the Downsize this weekend, and her theory is when people are in a stall, she calls it her cheeseburger remedy is just to have a higher caloric, have the cheeseburger, have some fries, don't go totally overboard. You don't have to eat every fry or anything like that, but just have a little bit higher calorie day and then start again the next day. And then your body's like, here comes the food, here comes the calories, I could breathe now, and then you start losing again.
One thing that I'm afraid of, those of you that are watching that don't know, I went into a pescatarian diet during this weight loss
Hmm.
journey. And I'm so afraid to eat chicken again or beef again or bread or pasta or any of that stuff that I no longer eat. I'm afraid to because once I break that seal, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to seal it back again.
You don't think you could just have it every once in a while?
I don't know, maybe, but I'm
Oh, okay,
afraid.
well,
I'm afraid to even try it because I've been doing so well, and it's almost like drinking, right? I have had many instances where I want it so badly to come home and have a glass of wine, have a shot of whiskey, whatever the case, but I'm
hmm
afraid to do it because it's kind of like, AA, how you get your chip, right? And you don't want to have another drink because that really means mentally you're going to have to start over from the beginning.
I
And
could
that's what I'm
understand that
afraid
there.
of.
I could understand that, and personally, like, I used to eat, I want to say like 98% fish and seafood, until they changed my hours at work. And now instead of working 10-hour days, I'm working 13, 14-hour days. And I just
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to come home and cook. So like I started using factor meals, and they're mainly the ones that I get from them are mainly chicken. So I've been eating a lot more chicken than what I used to eat.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say chicken's great, the good source of
Hmm.
protein and all that good stuff. But for me, it's just something I decided not to do. Not that I will never. I just don't right now. And you know what I've done too? I don't know if you saw my other video where I was out all day one day and I was looking for something that was decent to eat for lunch, and I could find like absolutely nothing other than the little garden side salad.
Hmm.
So what I did was that day I came home, went to the grocery, got a whole bunch of shrimp, a whole bunch of vegetables, and I made like 12 meals. And
Mm-hmm.
I put some in the freezer and some in the refrigerator, and it was the best thing I could have done, because now I just come home from doing whatever I'm doing that particular day, and I get one out, throw it in the microwave. I don't have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about being tired, not really feeling like cooking, because those are the times you kind of reach for the wrong thing. So that was the best thing I could have done. I bought those, what are they called? Bent goes containers that have two separate
Mm-hmm.
compartments. And I put my fish or my shrimp, whatever I'm eating, and then the vegetables in another. It's awesome.
That's great. So Joe wants to thank us both for answering. I'm going to show her the responses.
Oh, good,
Uh,
good. And you know what, too? It's like, even if your friend would like to talk to somebody about it, just send her over, because I don't miss having my cocktail every day. I did at first. It was kind of touch and go for, the first week or two, but after that, I don't even miss it now. I don't even
to
crave it
me,
anymore.
alcohol is just kind of useless calories.
Agreed.
Okay,
Absolutely
so
agreed. But one
Tammy
thing I
says,
learned, Lori, is that
hmm,
we have patterns. We create these patterns in our lives, right? Coming home every day, getting a cocktail, sitting down, watching the news, or whatever the case, was a pattern that I had created. And I think the pattern is harder to break than actually what you're doing. And that was my thing. Once the pattern broke, then I didn't even miss the alcohol.
hmm. Personally, I don't really like the taste of alcohol. Don't get me wrong, I like the little bit of a buzz, but I didn't really like the taste, and it just really wasn't worth it. So Tammy watched my video on consuming alcohol, straight to the point, informative. I try to do that. Thank you very much. Has
Good.
have the occasional drink, but I used to drink several times a week after work too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking to each other. Uh, so my friend's video. I haven't eaten wheat in over 10 years because of digestive issues, but now I'm getting better. Inflammation control from the Manjaro. My friends made me a thin crust pizza. So how'd you do, Joe?
Joe, it's interesting because I had really bad inflammation issues, to the point where they were testing me for autoimmune diseases, because they could not figure out why I was having these inflammation flare ups. It got to the point where it was in my face, throughout my body. I had to take a Z pack once every 4 weeks or so. And after I changed my diet, it all went away. So whatever, I'm not sure what part of my diet was causing it, but I'm so grateful that I don't have this issue now. So could I have pinpointed, maybe drilled down a little bit more to find out exactly where it was coming from? Yes, but I just threw it all away. And I'm just so glad I did, because I feel so much better.
Oh, that's great. So Joe loved the pizza, but she's in no hurry to eat it again. Trust
Yeah.
yourself more now. You're on the Manjaro because you're the one back in control of what you want to eat. How true that is.
How true that is. And Joe, I don't know if you know this or not. I'm sure you probably do, but there is a cauliflower pizza crust recipe out there that is absolutely amazing. So if you like pizza, you can definitely find a healthy alternative.
I like cauliflower pizza. Yeah, I've never made it myself, but let's see. JC Calamity Jane, if I remember correctly, I think it's your birthday, so happy birthday.
Oh, happy
Uh,
birthday.
Joe, this biggest impact with wine. is if the person is taking in less carbs, they will feel the wine more intensely. So maybe do the wine at home when they know they'll have a few carbs and drink a lot of water. Very good advice.
Mhm.
Uh, Hydration is very important anyhow, especially if you're going to drink alcohol, because alcohol will tend to dehydrate you a little bit. Yeah, Joe and Carol, I guess my wife, are talking to each other. Uh, Tammy doesn't miss alcohol either.
Yeah, and you know what? Not only do you not miss it, um, you also are so pleased with your weight loss that you don't want to give yourself any empty calories that are not going to
Mhm.
provide anything. So that's one thing that I found too, and was grateful for it, because not only was I like drinking a lot, but it's expensive on top of that. So yeah, so I had to, so I your friend will not miss it. It's just taking that step.
Let's all say happy birthday to Calamity Jane. Some fireworks for you. Let's give you some confetti.
Yay.
Anything you want there. Oh, I guess I have to turn off the confetti. Hang on here. Okay. Or we're gonna have confetti the whole live. Uh, I think you're onto something concerning developing patterns and habits. Yeah,
You know
definitely.
what? You know what, Tammy? What's interesting about it, the whole thing, is that not only with this whole GLP-1 thing and drinking and eating the wrong foods, but once I figured that out, I was able to apply that to other parts of my life too. Different patterns that you just kind of do it even though you don't want to. It's just kind of like, you just do it because it's what you're used to doing. So I've been doing a lot of self-analysis during this whole journey that I've been on, and trying to change some of those other patterns that I was doing that not so good, or I want it to be more positive. So it is just changing my patterns all the way around. This journey has really opened up a lot of things for my life and given me some pointers and insight, I should say, of how to change things to be a more positive and healthy me.
Hmm. So Calamity Jane says there's a similar trick in Weight Watchers called the Wendy and Sprangle. I hope I'm saying that white correctly. Plan that follows the caloric recycling when you're in a stall. It seems to work along the weight loss journey. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's wishing Calamity Jane happy birthday.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, everybody's happy birthday. Yeah, my wife's birthday is Sunday.
Oh, wow. Well, tell her happy early birthday for me.
People, again, put your channel links in the comments. I'll be more than happy to put them on screen. And we're at the end of the comments for now. Again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. So have any of you actually changed from Wegovy to Zepbound or Zepbound to Wegovy? Let me know in the comments, because we're talking about that along with any other questions that you may have. I have not considered changing. I don't plan on changing. I really like the tirzepatide. I've had like zero side effects, which is kind of weird, because for the first time I was thinking a couple weeks ago that, am I a little nauseated? Because I've never
Mm.
really had nausea from the tirzepatide. And it took me about a half an hour to realize, nope, I'm actually hungry, because like I
Oh,
really haven't been
okay.
hungry my whole journey. And I was confusing the hunger with
For
nausea.
nausea.
'Cause as
Yeah.
soon as I took like one bite, it was gone. And like, I'm like, I guess I was hungry.
You
It's
know,
funny how that happens.
absolutely, absolutely. As far as changing medications, wanting to, or if you're finding yourself in some sort of a stall or something like that, I have read that actually, Lori, that people do switch to a
I've read that
different,
too.
and then it just kind of kicks them back into weight loss. If that ever happened to me, I would definitely consider it. But as far as my journey right now and side effects, I am starting to experience constipation with my
Hmm.
10 milligram. So I've been battling with that a little bit and learning some new things, as I talked about in my couple videos back. So that is the first, I would say, side effect that has been long lasting. Like, and when I say long lasting, I mean like 2 weeks or so. I
Hmm.
haven't had any side effects that lasted that long, but I am managing through it.
As long as we're talking about poop on the internet, I think I've had constipation like twice,
Mhm.
including just recently. I can't really say for sure it's the medication because I think twice in a year and a half, year and 8 months, whatever, isn't a lot.
Right.
And I do know I have not been drinking as much water as I should be, uh, just because I forget because I'm working or whatever. And I have tried the dragon fruit, and that did help.
Mm. So just
The red
eating
dragon
dragon
fruit.
fruit helps.
Yeah, it's if
Ah,
don't eat too much of
okay.
it because you'll be going all day. Just a slice or two of it. Mm,
Okay,
it's
well, that's good to know.
good to
That's good
help.
information.
Uh-huh.
Thank
It's
you for that.
so Sharon has changed from Wegovy to Zepbound is the best thing that she ever did. She's feeling so much better on the Zepbound. Wegovy did her in. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Again, I can't say that I've experienced it. Uh, it is so weird. Just the most less interested in certain foods. I used to love hummus, but I don't even buy it anymore. Have you tried it again, or do you just don't have the taste for it? Does it taste different? Just curious.
Well, Calamity, I was a sunflower seed fanatic. Okay, and when I say sunflower seed fanatic, I'd eat a big, huge bag like this in a day. And I just loved it. And since I've been on this journey, I have absolutely no taste at all for them.
Hmm. Hmm. So Joe's remember to up your water. I think it was Lori who explained that as you lose more weight on the medication, more water is required to break down the fat cells. So more water, like 100 ounces a day. I probably drink total that, but honestly, I'd have to say probably only about 70 ounces are actual water. I do have coffee, iced tea. Sometimes I'll have a diet soda. um, not a huge soda drinker, but I actually found I think it's poppies or something like that because it actually has some fiber in it. And I like the root beer. It tastes pretty good. Again, I'm not a huge soda drinker, so I'll have one or two a week most.
I try to get in at least 60 to 70 ounces of water. And when I say
Hmm.
try, I mean really try. I typically don't make it, but I try to. I have been turned on lately to zero sugar Gold Peak sweet tea, and
Hmm.
it is absolutely delicious. So I'm going to stop doing that because I think that's the first thing that I'll grab when I go into the fridge instead of water. So I need to start doing that more, and not buying so much. I think the other day I bought
Right.
like 5 different cases off of Amazon just so I don't run out. But I need to get into a better routine where I have maybe one a day, or maybe one in the
Hmm.
early part of the day and one in the evening or something like that. Although it's 0 calories, but still, there's nothing that does your body like water.
Nothing does that does it like water, but it still counts as fluid
as
intake.
a fluid.
Coffee
Hmm.
can be a diuretic, so water up, that's true. Um, everybody's different. Magnesium really help with constipation. I totally agree with that. Uh, I take magnesium every day.
Oh,
Uh,
good, really?
yeah. Name of the brand is slipped my mind. Bio-Optimizer, I think I use. There's also Mago 7. There are different companies that make them. I think they're even as far as effectiveness and some of their main ingredients. They each have like 6 or 7 different types of magnesium, and I mean it's proven that that helps. Plus, it's a muscle relaxer, so it helps you sleep.
Interesting. I don't take magnesium, but all I take is like a multivitamin, and then I take D3 every day. It's prescribed
Hmm.
D3 because of my osteoporosis issue.
Hmm.
And that's it. But I'm gonna definitely look into the magnesium.
And I bought a whole bunch of it when Amazon had their last sale because this stuff's like I think it's like $25-$30 a bottle, which lasts a
Mm.
month. And I think I bought like 6 or 8 bottles when it was on sale because both me and my wife also use it, so we go through it pretty quickly.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Thank you for that, Sharon.
Hmm. It's my thoughts as well, although the dragon fruit has been helpful. It's like I said, me and my wife have been eating that lately, and it has helped. I can't take it every day. I spend the day in the bathroom.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah,
no, no. That's about the magnesium.
I think that's the magnesium. They
Oh.
recommend 1 to 2 tablets a day. I would always suggest people start with one, see how their body acts. And you don't need it necessarily every day. When I was on vacation, I think I left it out of my medication just because I didn't want to have too many bags of pills. Where my wife actually forgot to put it in her medication and then said, "No wonder why I can't sleep." So
Well, I
it's
had no
always something.
idea, you guys. I'm definitely going to add that to my, intake because that's important. And maybe this constipation thing that I'm battling right now will get better.
Sharon did the same thing. She stocked up on the Bio-Optimizer because it was a good sale. And once in a while, you know how Amazon works. If you keep clicking on something, all of a sudden the next day you'll find it in your lightning deal, where it may not be in somebody else's lightning deal. So, they keep track of what you're buying and what you're not buying and what you're looking at and try to get you hooked. That's Amazon, and uh, we were talking about that earlier. Private business, they're kind of allowed to do that. We were talking about it with the aspect of there's now a lawsuit that people are suing. Um, it's the Care Plus, not
Oh,
Care Plus,
CVS Caremark.
CVS, CVS Caremark. They're because they're forcing them to switch their medication. Will it work? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. Nothing we're saying is medical advice or legal advice, but it's putting it back in the conversation. And for me, anything that brings up the conversation of GLP-1s can't be a bad thing.
I agree. I agree, but at the same time, again, a business is going to do what a business has to do for their bottom line, and I can respect and understand that. Even though it does not work out for us patients very well.
Mm.
But I have a question too for you, Lori, and for you
Sure.
guys too that are watching. As far as what if you have no comorbidities? Diabetes, pre-diabetic, your BMI is in the normal range. However, you would like to lose 25 pounds. How do you get access to a GLP-1 if your insurance is not going to cover it because you don't have any comorbidities, how does that work?
My best get, because like my brother's in that situation and he does it through telehealth. And my cousin just started on it. Actually, she was prescribed semaglutide, which she started taking, I think, like 2 days ago. I'll have to check in with her, see how she's doing on that. But I've never looked at her as even overweight, but she wants to lose that nagging 15 pounds that she says that she's carrying. Again, I don't know. I know insurance won't cover it
Right.
because her BMI isn't high enough. Again, she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have, the comorbidities and anything like that. So she pretty much had to go compound. And, she just
Okay.
explained that to them. And I think that's for her why they chose the semaglutide rather than the tirzepatide, because she doesn't really have a lot to lose. Um, and they told her if that's not working, obviously make a new appointment, or if she's having too bad of side effects. So, yeah, I think compound would probably be your easiest way to go on that. Uh, a lot of doctors, if you ask a doctor, and I've learned this especially as I got older, if you ask a doctor, should I be on this medication? And their first thought is, oh my God, what if I don't prescribe this medication now and something happens? Are they going to sue me? Because
Mm,
you could pretty much go to a doctor and say, I think I should be on this medication, and they may say no. And if you say, that's fine, just note that in your chart that I asked and that you wouldn't give it to me, all of a sudden that prescription pad comes out, here's your prescription. Uh, Insurance coverage, that's a whole nother story. So, um, I used to actually be against people that only had 10, 15 pounds, 20 pounds to lose, uh, back, especially when there were shortages. But now that all these new reasons for taking it, heart health, liver disease,
right.
all that is coming out, you figure why not? And especially if they're using compound, it's not like they're taking the medication away from anybody. So my ideas on that have changed.
Well, I asked because I have a family member, she's so enthused with my success on Zepbound that she would like to get on as well. However, she doesn't have any of the criteria. So she
Hmm.
asked what could she do? And I really did not know what to tell her. Because the Eli Lilly Direct and that sort of thing, you still have to have a prescription. So I didn't
Right.
know what route to share with her. So that's why I'm asking. So maybe I can help out,
Well,
in some.
there are telehealth companies that work with Lilly Direct and NovaCare and so forth. I think like Ro does, where you could either
Okay.
get compound or you could get from Lilly Direct. And again, I think that might be a little bit easier because they're a little bit more used to prescribing that. If she could get it from her doctor, the prescription, and they send it to Lilly Direct,
They already
they're
said
not
no.
going to turn her down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Well,
well then
her
you don't.
doctor won't give
You,
it to her because she doesn't have any of the criteria. So he said
mhm.
no, but she still wants to get on.
Yeah, any of the telehealths I think would be a little bit easier, just my personal opinion. And I know some people will fib a little bit on their telehealth visit. I know when I originally started, even though I'm already short, I took another inch off of my height and added like 5 or 6 more pounds so that my BMI was a little bit higher. Probably didn't need to do that because I was still in the obese category, but I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And I think televisit, similar to a visit, like we're on a live now, similar to that, it's a little bit easier if you're going to do a little bit of fibbing.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Calamity Jane, oh my God, me too. I used to get those Cha-Cha sunflower seeds. I tried them once afterwards, and I probably won't do it again.
It just goes away. It just goes away. And it's something that I adored. it was like that was a part of who Chanda was. You have to, my son's going to the store, get some sunflower seeds. I'm out, get some sunflower seeds. But yeah, it's just everything has kind of just fallen by the wayside.
My wife is correcting me. It wasn't that she couldn't sleep, she couldn't poop because she didn't have the magnesium.
Oh, okay.
I
Exactly.
believe 30. Okay, thanks, Jen, for that info.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And think about, talking about Roe. You mentioned Roe earlier. And
Mhm,
I've been seeing the advertisements, and Serena Williams is their brand ambassador. And
mhm.
I kind of felt a little uneasy about that. And I'll tell you guys why. Because we're battling people who want to get on GLP-1s for one reason or another, are battling their insurance companies. They are trying to rearrange finances because it's so expensive. And I think having someone like Serena Williams as a brand ambassador for Trizepatide makes it seem like it's a luxury drug and not a necessity. And a lot of us are in necessity. We need these GLP-1s to make us a healthier self. But I think when you have brand ambassadors that, first of all, are not overweight, secondly, they want to lose 15, 20 pounds, something like that, seems to be more cosmetic. And it seems to me that that's why they don't take our pleas and our cries seriously, because they look at it as a luxury drug still.
Yes and no. I mean, uh, I've never had a child, so I don't know, but, I know that after people are pregnant, you do sometimes gain weight, your hormones do change. It's the same type of thing with menopause, and some people just need that little extra help. And I want to remind everybody that, yes, Serena Williams is their main spokesperson, but let's not forget that her husband sits on the board of directors for Roe. He's one of the owners.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Well,
So,
that makes
there's a little bit of a twist to that. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. But I kind of fear it just sends the wrong message. You know what? It could have been Amy Schumer. It could have
Yeah.
been, it could have been somebody like that. It could have been Gabrielle of Gabby, whatever her last name is, the one from Precious. It could have been so many other people that actually mirror the people who need GLP-1 meds. But, that's
Yeah.
just my opinion on the matter.
But like I said, it's got people talking, and to me, that's not a bad thing. I mean, I know I did a video about it. I know a lot of creators did, and it, certainly got it again on the news, and it got people talking about GLP-1. And then you have to realize if an athlete, you can't say that she doesn't work hard enough, is having trouble losing weight. I think that helps a little bit with the GLP-1s.
It helps, but for me, being like morbidly obese, it was definitely a game changer for me. And I think that it's not just for cosmetics. It's not a cosmetic thing. It's like GLP-1s are changing lives and saving
Yeah.
lives.
Mhm. Speaking which, have you watched the documentary on The Biggest Loser?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
So what are your thoughts I mean, I was horrified when the show was on. I mean, I'm not huge into reality, and I'm like, they're fat shaming these people. And then when I saw the documentary, and the only reason why I really watched it is because there were so many videos on it, I'm like, I should at least watch it and, see. I was even more horrified at the treatment that they were giving the contestants.
Well, I have two different school of thoughts on it. My
Mhm,
first school of thought is they created this show um, primarily for entertainment.
mhm,
Not I mean, and if they help someone along the way, great. but their primary concern was entertainment. Entertainment versus equals views, and views equal money, and that's what it was all about. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's horrifying about the way that they treated these people, but I think it's such as any reality show. Even the ones, of course, reality TV has become more popular since The Biggest Loser. And every single, not every single, but a lot of reality contestants have complained of being manipulated, being forced to do things they didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Their life is now ruined because of this reality show. So when you are in a situation such as that, their job is to use you. And
Mm-hmm.
however that is, however that's going to look, that's their primary concern. Now, my second school of thought is for the poor people who went on to the show thinking their priority was to help them. I feel sorry for them because
Mm-hmm.
they were put in a unbearable situation, and that those effects are long lasting.
That's true. And you have to also realize that reality TV really became popular when there was a TV strike,
Mhm.
because these people were not in, any acting guild or union or anything like that. And as a matter of fact, they barely pay them because for some
Mhm.
bizarre reason, and I have a friend who actually did a deep dive video into this, is reality TV show is classified as a news show, meaning that they don't have to pay them much. They don't have to pay them like a regular TV. Plus, nobody except for I think it's CBS that did the show, or whatever station does the show, gets any residuals on
That's right.
replays. So it's relatively cheap because all they have to do is, pay certain, camera people and editors. And again, there's a lot of hidden cameras and stuff, so that there's not a lot of cameramen. So they're relatively cheap to make, and people seem to watch them and enjoy it.
True,
So,
true. I think that it's very sad that people were hurt by
hmm
this TV show. It was really unfortunate, but again, I think that in going into something like that, you should always know they're going to use me. I have to figure out how I'm going to use them.
hmm
So it is a mutual relationship.
I'm in the process of setting up an interview with one of the former contestants. I don't want to say anything till it's actually scheduled,
Oh, that's going to be
but that should be
awesome.
an interesting. That's going to be an interesting interview. So I'm looking forward to
It
that. Calamity Jane. I was ravenous for sunflower seeds. My granddad called me bird brain because I ate so many. Gotta love granddads. Jen F, does compound have a BMI requirement? I think it's
That's a
pretty easy to get
that's a
it from
great
compounding
question.
companies.
That's a
It is a
great
good,
question.
but like I said, people that only have 10, 15, 20 pounds to lose, people like Serena Williams get the prescription pretty easily from telehealth, where it may be a little bit harder to get it from your actual doctor. Just, like I said, my brother, he only has like 10, 12 pounds to lose, and he comes on it, off it, on it, off it. I kind of wish he would kind of stay on like a 2.5 or a low dose just to maintain. And I think he gets a lot of his calories because he likes his evening cocktails. And he'll usually have maybe three or four while he's on a GLP-1. He has one or two a week because he just can't handle it. And again, one of the things that they're studying is, addiction, that, it helps with
Right.
addiction.
I heard that too,
So,
which is amazing, right?
which is one reason why I'm kind of changed my mind on people that don't have a lot to lose taking it because there's just so many other benefits and so many, I mean, they're saying that you have like a 15% less chance of even getting Alzheimer's if you're on a GLP-1. They're still doing studies. It's not officially approved for that, but that's what it's heading towards. So, why not have people, it is approved uh, or recommended by the American Cardiology Association for heart disease if you have heart disease in your family.
That's interesting too. Speaking of heart, you guys, my cholesterol is out of control. Okay. Now, even though with my current weight loss, everything looks good. I'm no longer pre-diabetic, which is great. My blood pressure looks amazing. The only thing is my cholesterol is still sky high and even has gotten higher since my last blood test like 3 months ago. So
Hmm.
he sent me to have a heart scan because he wanted to make sure I'm not having any valve blockages or anything like that. So I got great news back yesterday. I
Hmm.
have I'm in the 87th percentile. I have like 2.6% in one of my left. Yay. Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. Because I was worried that I was going to have a heart issue as well. But my cardiologist told me that being on Zepbound is great for any kind of a heart, disease situation or a heart problem. So it is good for all of these different things.
It is, and we can't forget that. And uh, I think I said on one of my interviews that they almost should put this stuff in the water like they did fluoride for your teeth.
Yeah,
It just seems to have so many benefits, but we're a long way from that. Let's work
yeah,
on affordable accessibility before we go that far. So Joe's saying, but I agree with Chanda is saying that the contestants didn't realize that their health was not high on the producer's priorities. It's so sad to hear the damage that the show has caused them. That's true. And, it's just not good for your metabolism or, they're having a lot of long-term effects. Uh, a lot of them seem to be on GLP-1 medications now, since most of them have gained their weight back. According to the documentaries, some of them didn't say that, but like I said, I've been talking to some of the prior contestants trying to get some interviews and stuff, and they're saying that, they're members of the group that are past contestants, and a lot of them are on the GLP-1 medications. Um, Again, during the interview, I'm not going to ask them to name names because it's not anybody's business. If the people want it out there, they'll put it out there that they're on GLP-1s.
right.
Nobody needs to be outed on an interview. It's just my thought. Uh, it's always lovely to see all of you. Want to thank Joe especially because she's like, we're actually in a small YouTube creator group and we're always our biggest cheerleaders. So,
That's great.
um, so everybody say hi to Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, I love the cat in the box emoji. Carol, where did you find it? I didn't even see that. Oh no.
Also, you guys, Lori and I, prior to getting online, we were talking about rebound weight and how on social media you hear a lot of people say, don't get on GLP-1s because you're only going to gain all the weight back and some. How do you guys feel about that social media trend that's going around right now? Do you believe that if you stop GLP-1s that you're going to have rebound weight?
I could see that happening because I know, again, just going on vacation. Yeah, and I did a video on this. Like I had a personal dilemma because Orlando has one of my favorite pizza places. You know, it's one of the only places that you could get a Chicago deep dish pizza, which is a
Mhm.
little bit spicier and a little bit of oil, and I'm like, I usually take my shot the day we were going up there, which was like our best time to go because that was our main free night. And I'm like, do I lower the dose? Do I not take it? Do I take it? And we ended up taking it with us and we took it the next day because I I know my first day, my shot day, I don't do it, but I could easily go with just like 2 to 3 bites per meal for the whole
Yeah,
day, you know. So I didn't want that happening with my favorite pizza place. So we took it the next day, and I've tried lowering it when I'm on vacation, and I think that's kind of a mistake for the rest of the week. You know, it
mhm.
was fine, you know, the couple days we were gone, but yeah, so that was my dilemma. So I could see people regaining, but keep in mind if you do go off it, we've learned some healthy habits. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
stick to it. And if you do start gaining the weight back, you could always go back on the medication.
That's true. That's true too. I have decided that if I have to be on it for the rest of my life, so be it, as long as, of course, I can afford it or whatever
Right.
insurance I might have at the time may cover one of them. But I just feel like no matter what type of a weight loss journey you're on, if you stop the healthy habits, you're gonna gain the weight back, whether it's
Hmm.
GLP-1 or anything else.
Keep in mind that within the next 6 months, or Orforglipron will be out, which is the pill version of GLP-1. It's supposed to be a lot less expensive. You take it daily. It doesn't need refrigeration. Even Eli Lilly, who's going to make it, is talking about a entry price of around $200 for the month, which is a lot less expensive. And again, you don't, you know, you're using a name, brand. You're not, you know, you don't have to worry about compound or anything like that. You could get it from your CVS, your Walgreens, or whatever pharmacy you use. Um, Again, I don't know if insurance will cover it, but they're talking about the cash paying price around the $200 level. So that may help for maintenance for people that can't afford it. They say it's not quite as effective, but
Mhm.
again, we're talking maintenance. We don't need it to be as effective.
Right. I was wondering too, you were talking about maintenance. When I get into the maintenance phase, when I get out of the morbidly obese or obese category, does that mean that if I did want to go to, like, say, to Wegovy for maintenance, my insurance would no longer cover it because I'm no longer considered overweight?
I'm not sure how that works because every insurance company is different, and I use compound. But you know, keep in mind, I picked a company that I talked to them, you know, like if I stay with you, you know, do I have to stop during maintenance or are there going to be requirements? And they're like, well, as long as you're still with us, you know, we have a maintenance plan.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure now that more people are on maintenance, they may be, you know, more open to it. At least compound. Again, I don't know anything about insurance, but again, if your doctor sends over that prescription, if he believes in it for maintenance to like Lilly Direct or NovaCare, you know, I'm
Hmm.
sure that they'll sell it to you, you know, for the cash price.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Okay, so yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay.
So Sharon
Mhm.
says, absolutely, I believe I'll be on some form for life. I believe that too, as long as I could afford it. Obesity is a chronic disease. That is correct. Just like blood pressure and diabetes,
That's
it
right.
can go into remission, but that doesn't mean you necessarily have to stop taking the medications. And it's funny that you say that because my wife, who used to take two different kinds of insulin, along with her Monjaro, has gotten such good results with combination of us eating better and losing weight and being on Monjaro that she's no longer on the insulin and
Oh,
she's lowered her
yay.
metformin. And the doctor was actually thinking of taking her off of the metformin. And I asked, well, if she's not on metformin, will the insurance company question paying for her Monjaro? And
Mhm.
she's like, I don't know about that. So we'll just keep her on the metformin.
Okay. Well, that's great. Congratulations to her, though. Getting off
Yeah.
of that is great.
But from what I hear, the once you're a diabetic, you're always a diabetic. It's just in remission.
Hmm.
It's almost like you have to prepare now for what GLP-1s are doing. You may be able to keep the weight off, otherwise stay on it. And again, you have a choice. You could go off of it and see how it goes, and you could come back on it. I have an interview coming out probably in a week with this guy, Zach, who is weaning himself off of it because he wants to see how he'll do not on any medication. And like he said, I could always go back on it if it's not working. And that's true.
That is true. And he may, may have better results if he does have to get back on it. He may have
Mhm.
better results. You never know.
So Joe agrees with Denise Walker. So us, we dieting early in life are no strangers to rebound weight. We know very well. Well, my opinion is that we all know how to lose weight. We've all lost it many times. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of maintaining it. And I think that's where this medication is different because the way we eat, the way you think is different on the medication. It's that, little signal to the brain that you're full and the slower digestion that helps you keep on track. Uh, where Weight Watchers and all the other diets, all the other fad diets, it wasn't the losing weight that we had a problem with, it was keeping it off,
It
or
was
we wouldn't be
keeping
where
it
we are
up.
right now.
And you know what? I believe I agree with Denise too, because she says that she doesn't even feel like she's on a diet. That's exactly how
Mhm.
I feel too, Denise.
Right.
That's how I feel. I don't
It's
feel
not
like
really a
I'm on a
diet.
diet.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. I don't feel like I'm dieting. I don't feel like I'm deprived of anything. I just feel like my regular self that just has healthier habits.
Absolutely. So Calamity Jane is saying literally on Zepbound to do with the rebound weight and plus some from when I did Weight Watchers back 2012, 2013. How many of us were on Weight Watchers at 1, 2, or 3 or 4 points? I still may have an active subscription going someplace. I have to check all my charge cards. Yeah. I think my wife pointed that out like 6, 7 months ago. Like, I checked the American Express. We're still paying for a Weight Watchers. I'm like,
Yeah.
we are, because I think I must have like forgotten that I had and did it under a different email or a different sign on but we've all tried Weight Watchers and other diets. When your doctor is filing out for the PA, they should be using your original BMI and starting it for maintenance. Okay, good to know that.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's great to know, Jen. Thank you.
Good to know for those prior authorizations.
Yes,
Uh,
because I mean, hopefully in about 40 pounds, I'll be at my goal weight and I'll have to step into my
hey,
maintenance phase. So let's hope, you guys. So that's good to know, Jen. Thank you.
absolutely. So, are you gonna? Do you know yet if you're gonna try to do it without the medication?
I'd rather not. If I can
Mm-hmm.
afford it, I just want to keep on as usual. Of course, if something happens and it requires me to go off of the meds, like say financially or anything, let's hope that doesn't happen. Knock on wood. But if I had to, I would. But as long as I can afford it, I'm going to stay on it. As long as my doctor is prescribing, I'm going to move forward.
And I want to remind people that one of the older GLPs, again, right now I've kind of forgot the name of it, but it was oral GLP, just came out a few weeks ago in a generic. Again, a little older, probably not as good. I don't know too much about side effects, but when you're on maintenance, you just need something to help you a little bit. That's always an option. Again, I'm not a doctor or a healthcare provider. Um between you and your healthcare provider, but there are options if you can't afford the tirzepatide or the semaglutide, again, or forglipron will be coming out soon. And hopefully with that, we may see a little bit lower prices. Who knows? We could hope.
I hope so.
Uh,
I hope so,
it's-
because I gotta tell you, this $4.99 a month is killing me. But I will do whatever I need to do. I'll go and collect cans if I need to make it to make it happen. But it is definitely a steep price.
Well, Joe's off to sleep. Night, Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Bye,
Appreciate it. Always
Joe.
love your support. Uh, it is 5 hours later in the UK, so it is kind of late there. See, it's a little after 11 there. So I totally understand that. Um, again, any comments, anything, please. That's the same one that I put up there. Uh, put your questions, comments. We'll be more than happy to go over them. Uh, my wife lost 50 pounds on one of those 4 times and always gained it right back. And sometimes a little bit more on my case. I don't know about Carol's case, but it's it seems like once you gain it, gain it back, you kind of have that mental thought of like, oh, why should I even bother again? Let me just, keep the way I am, because it's a
Yes.
little depressing when you've lost that weight and you gain it back. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sometimes you just want to
And
give up. I get it. I've
yeah,
been there many, many times before in my lifetime.
absolutely. So looks like our time is coming to an end. Do you have any thing else you want to cover before we sign off?
No, not at this present moment, but I really enjoyed being on with you guys. It's so fun. I've
Awesome.
never done a live before, so I really like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
you'll have to join me again. We'll also
Yeah.
have to do one on your channel.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to do that. Yeah, I would definitely love it. I've always been afraid to do it actually, but now I'm like, okay, it's good. It's not bad at all. It's actually very interactive and I like that.
I like having a guest because, like I said, a lot of times when I do these, it's spur of the moment. So, I might only get one or two people and then they catch it on the replay. So it's a lot easier when people are interacting with you. And just in case they aren't, it's easier to talk to somebody than just to talk by yourself.
Right. So yeah, I would definitely like to have you on and do a live on my channel as well. That would be fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This was loads of fun. I want to thank everybody. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe, um, comment, share, watch the replay, go over to Shanda's channel, like, subscribe, watch her videos. They're great. They're very informative and very laid back. I really enjoy them, and
Well,
you
thank you.
discuss some interesting topics.
All right, you guys, it was so nice being here with you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, so that's kind of a wrap.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.